Now, when I visited Vienna, I thought I was going to get the Vienna Schnitzel as it should be. Well, I sort of did. I suppose I went to the place that supposedly served 1,000 schnitzels a day. Now, always remember that the schnitzel originally came and it was bought by a general or, some highfalutin fella from Italy, and it started off as a cutlet Milanese, which was on the bone, and then in Vienna they took it off the bone, but they didn't have any veal, and they used pork, and so even this place that's serving 1,000 a day uses pork, not veal. Now, to me, the traditional Wiener Schnitzel is veal, but then again in Australia, the schnitzel to us is normally chicken, isn't it? Now, why am I saying that? All right, that's the end of the story. I'm doing an actual traditional Wiener Schnitzel. I'm making a barroom slaw with it, which is fun. Or you could, of course, do a nice hot potato salad, which would be lovely too. And I've got some nice veal here, which I'm just going to flatten out a bit. Don't flatten it out too much, because remember, if it's too thin, all you taste is the crumbs. Now we're going to talk about the crumbing, which is important. We've got some nice veal there, and what we've got here is the 3 steps. Flour, egg wash, which is egg and milk, which, as you know, I've done on my waste not, want not, you can use to make scrambled eggs the next day. And I've also got some lovely panko crumbs, which are crisper than normal bread crumbs, or you could use homemade ones. And to that, I'm going to add a bit of parmesan, good quality parmesan. And we're just going to grate that into that, just to give it a little bit of zing. You know how I like my zing. Don't put too much parmesan, otherwise it'll all melt and stick to the pan, which is not what we want. So I would say about 1/5 parmesan to the amount of crumbs, all right, guys? And just mix that together. Now, normally what I would do is I would pre-crumb this and stick it in the fridge on a plate separated, not on top of each other, for about half an hour, but it doesn't have to. It just makes the crumbs stick better, or you make sure that the crumbs stick, I suppose is what I'm really after. So you flour it first, make sure it's all coated, but you don't want 3 tons of flour on it. And then what we do is we make sure that it's coated in our egg wash. So that's just 1 egg and a good slurp of milk. Now, if you feel that the crumbs aren't sticking as well as they should, what you can do is put it through again. So put it through, just don't do the flour, put it through the egg wash and then the crumbs again. Now, the dressing for my barroom slaw, pretty simple, nothing too complicated about it, but nice flavours. First of all, about 1.5 tablespoons measured with a teaspoon of sour cream, and also some homemade mayonnaise at the same quantity. Good pinch of sugar, tablespoon of cider vinegar, and 1/2 tablespoon of Dijon mustard, some salt, pepper, and a few dollops or a couple of dollops of hot sauce. And mix it really well so that everything in there is mixed in, and then we'll have a little taste as opposed to a big taste. My jokes are getting worse, aren't they? Yes, they are. They really are. Oh, well. Keep my daughter happy. Charlotte's always saying to me, "Dad, your jokes are dreadful." So she'd be disappointed if I suddenly started doing decent jokes. Well, it's not going to happen, Charlotte, it's fine. Right, so what I've got here in the slaw, I've got some finely sliced Savoy cabbage, got some sliced radishes, some spring onion, some grated carrot. I've got some celery in there as well. And of course that lovely dressing. All right, mix it in really, really well. And a non-stick pan with some olive oil. I always put a dollop of butter in this, purely and simply. It just adds some extra flavour. I suppose it's not really the flavour it's colour. It adds a bit of extra colour to it. So let's just wait until that butter melts, then we'll turn it down, put the schnitzel in, and we're almost in business. All right, now turn it down now. If your butter is melted, let's just have a look. Yeah, that's looking good. And then don't ever overcrowd the pan. We're not going to do that because we're only cooking for one, so that's easy. But if you're cooking for more than one, don't overcrowd the pan. You might have to do it in a couple of lots. Don't put a whole lot of stuff in, because what will then happen is you'll drop the temperature of the oil and it will stew. We don't want it to stew, do we? Right, and we've got a wine here which is rather interesting. Now, my mate, the guru of wine, Neil Prentice, now I'm just going to read this because it's his words, not mine. According to him, the wild edge on the Chardonnay cuts through the rich umami of the Parmesan crust and smooches up to the slightly sour slaw like a couple of teenagers together. Now that's his words, not mine. All right, and the reason he's talking like that is because the wine I've got here is this called Ladies Who Shoot Their Lunch, and it's a wild ferment Chardonnay. So that's why he's talking strange. He's got a bit unusual. Anyway, he reckons this will be perfect with this. And he should know, he's a bit of a wine man. He makes some beautiful wine himself. But this is his choice. Ooh, that is nice. Right, that one's starting to look good. And just please drain it really well. Just onto some kitchen towels, fine. My favourite slaw that, it's got some nice things in it. And just a wedge of lemon would be nice, wouldn't it? All right, my friends, nice glass of wine to go with it. Parmesan crumb Wiener Schnitzel with barroom slaw and that wonderful wild ferment Chardonnay from Ladies Who Shoot Their Lunch. Good name.